There are people I really admire, but I'm usually quite happy not to know them.
Is this not alarming to you?
The back row's asleep, but the front row's ready to rage.
In telling the story of a reclusive rock star's return, Opus blends music and mystery, body horror, a religious cult, and a hangout comedy. How did writer-director Mark Anthony Green explain all those distinct notes at play in Opus, and what aspects were the ones that pulled you in?
I mean, kind of all of them, really. Yeah. And then I watched a few movies. One of them was Phantom of the Paradise.
They want more now. They want much more.
And it just was like setting, I don't know, the world just felt so like strange and kind of unexpected. And I had never done anything like that before. I'm, a comedian first and foremost. And so I think Bear hadn't even come out yet when we first met about it. So like maybe I was about to do Bottoms or something. Like when we had started, it had been a minute.
That's amazing. So you knew Mark way back then,
yeah,
in the early stages.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
He got to watch, well, we all did, that you blew up in that time.
It's quite shocking for everybody.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, for the present company included, yeah.
Yeah, I was so moved by his script because it was such a fresh take and full of intellect and adventure and strange happenings, because it starts one way and then ends up another way. And I just had come off the heels of a historical strike. So I was like, yes, A24, Ayo's starring. And then Malkovich got involved. So I was like, sign me up. And I got to wear thigh-high boots and look totally different. And so that was fun
yeah,
for me.
Wear a fun wig and everything. John, what drew you into it? Was there an aspect of Moretti that made you have to play him?
He had a very clear vision, Mark Anthony, of what he wanted to do. And that's what drew me in, because we never really discussed casting or anything like that. I know he had very specific ideas about it, but for me it was the script.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you started working with Mark Anthony to craft this character, where do you begin? You're playing a character as an icon in his own world, but where do you begin crafting that? Where do you connect to Moretti?
He has a number of facets, I think, to his character. And I find that each scene is kind of a little movie. I always say about film acting that we're all characters in someone else's dream. So the first thing is you want to get a kind of, what is your interpretation of this dream? And how could I help present that interpretation? So that's where I start everything.
The crowd is upset that I'm not on stage.
Behind the scenes, what are you envisioning as the Moretti of your life? Who is your personal Moretti that you can kind of map onto when you're looking at this rock star and thinking like, this is something I would drop everything to meet?
I mean, yeah, like when I was a teenager, I for sure would have like given my right arm to meet Britney Spears. Like I would literally I was obsessed with Britney Spears. So definitely that. I don't know if there's anyone now in my life, maybe like Celine Dion, like I would follow her. I would follow her anywhere. I think she's a living legend.
If they're doing that, you must have done something right.
Ayo, was there somebody you were envisioning when you were?
I think Prince is somebody who I think is just like larger than life in so many ways. And if he came back, I would be like, okay, I'm there. Prince is like a huge icon to me, for me. When I was thinking about Moretti, we were having these conversations too, like thinking about someone who's experienced fame in a world where it was like something really tangible. Like it wasn't just like something you could experience like online or through streams. It's like the number of tickets bought, of DVDs sold, of people who'd show up outside of your hotel room or whatever. Like it was a thing that as a fan also you had to like do work and like to participate in. Not, you couldn't just be like passive, like, oh, I like this person's post on Instagram, or I like streamed a song or whatever. It's like you bought the album, you had it in your
picture on the album,
hand.
Like the only picture you have of those people, like in a period of time. Yeah,
and you're like opening up the leaflet and maybe getting bonus tracks and all these things. So I think
It was fun times.
Fun times, yeah.
Juliette, is there?
There's a few people I met in person And I was so happy to have that fanaticism, to experience it, because it was unique to me. But Bob Dylan, I had a pretend conversation with in the elevator. I met him, but I say pretend because my heart fell out the floor. I left my body, and my brain was like, say hi, how are you? And so he mentioned me, a movie I was in, so that, and it blew my mind. It was a tiny elevator, and then when I got to the bottom and sat in the seat with the van driver, I was working in New York, I said, I just met Bob Dylan, and I promptly wept. And it was because of his music, because I lived in these songs, and they held my hand through the darkest times of my life. And so it had that visceral response, but I did hold it together to pretend like I was human, and or that I could have a conversation with him.
No tears in front of Bob.
No.
As soon as,
But I was it was an involuntary reaction. It was so wild.
John, have you ever cried in front of a rock star or just outside of his view?
No. I mean, some songs have made me want to cry that people wrote that weren't very good. But no, there are people I really admire, but I'm usually quite happy not to know them.
Don't meet your heroes, that old...
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think when you really like someone's work, I don't think you should expect more. That's good enough. You know, they gave it the office.
Mr. Moretti, we'll be playing the greatest album of modern times, and there is more to come.
Ayo, I do want to talk about Ariel. She has a pretty similar job to me, right here. So can you tell the people at home how difficult it is to be an entertainment journalist? No, I'm kidding. But no, in playing one, did it uncover anything about kind of the art of the interview? You're on the other side of it so often.
Well, it's funny because it's like when we were filming, I feel like it was before I had a lot of experience being interviewed. So it was more, I think, through talking with Mark Anthony, who spent like the beginning of his career at GQ as a journalist and doing a lot of celebrity profiles. And then also I studied writing at school, and so a lot of my friends ended up like in the journalism track. And so talking with those friends and being a person who wants to be good at their job, or you feel you are very good and you've done the work, but you're not really being seen or given the opportunities yet.
Right. Everybody's just kind of writing you off.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It's hard.
Thank you.
What is it that you guys do?
Would you like to see?